Hi guys, welcome back to Ence, and it's time for Gamers8. It's a banger of a tournament. It's funny because it's like just one bracket. It's just best of threes, and losers go out. You don't have any second chances. If you have a poor day, if you lose a best of three, it's done. And if you look at the teams as well, oh my god, all the top teams are there. So it's gonna be crazy. The bracket is kinda one-sided, really top heavy in terms of the second downside of the bracket is kind of insane with Faze, with VP, G2, Furia, Navi, Vitality, even 9 being there as well. So there are a couple of really strong teams, in the bottom section. But I will make the predictions first, and then we will basically look at the players that we should go for the fantasy. In terms of predictions, I feel like you look at the teams, right? In the upper bracket, it's like there are two teams that are clearly just much better. Three teams, I would say: Ence, Cloud9, and Heroic. Right? Heroic, in this sense, have easy bracket because they have to play Falcons, and then they have to play the winner of Apeks, GamerLegion. To be honest, anyone can actually win that game. So Heroic can basically win that. So Heroic will already be in the semi-finals. In Cloud9 Fnatic, I think Cloud9 will take it, right? And then Ence Liquid, I think Ence will take it as well. Now it's gonna be Cloud9 versus Ence in the quarterfinals. In that game, I think anything can happen. People will say, oh, but Ence were in the finals, right? Yeah, they were in the finals and they are pretty great. But Cloud9 was without XI for the whole tournament. I feel like now they have time to practice as well. I think Cloud9 can actually win it. So I don't know who takes it over here. So I think I will go for Cloud9 because I don't know. I feel like that's gonna be Cloud9. But the reality is, to be honest, Ence will take this tournament even more properly because the prize pool of this tournament is insanely high. It's 1 million, same as Cologne, right? So for a smaller organization as Ence, this tournament is really big. But you can say the same thing about Cloud9 because they want to get that feeling of winning, right? And if you look at the players, they haven't won a big trophy. A trophy, a tournament as big as this, and on LAN as well. So both the team will be definitely be there in terms of motivation, but I think Ence will have slightly edge in terms of motivation, I would say. I don't know what to say. I feel like Cloud9 because they will have a full team as well, they will have time to practice, and Cloud9 showed their potential, somewhat of potential against Vitality, and I think they will win it, but you never know, right? Heroic versus Cloud9, I think Heroic will take it just based on the fact that there's no proper crowd. Obviously there is crowd, but there's no proper crowd, right? So, and let's be real, without proper crowd, I think in group stage Heroic, whenever it matters, Heroic, delivers in the group stage, right? I mean, even if it's not group stage, it's like a playoff, but since the crowd is not going to be very big, it's going to be like a small, like 400 500 crowds. It's not a big crowd in that sense as well. So I think Heroic will take it, but you can say the same thing about Cloud9 because Cloud9 also basically struggle when there is crowd, so maybe they will take it as well. So I don't know, obviously it's going to be a hard bracket, it's a hard tournament, it's a playoff, right? So it's hard to predict all the games, but I genuinely feel like Heroic had the best chance. If you want to go for, you can even go for Ence or Cloud9 as well. I think any one of them can actually be at the top, to be honest, in the finals. Yeah, but I believe Heroic or Cloud9. I think Heroic still just edges it basically, right? Because just they have played with that squad really properly as well. So like, with Cloud9, they don't have a chance to mess it up. I personally want Cloud9 to basically go to this distance because I want this Cloud9 to be really top. But I think Heroic will be there. Second bracket, I think Faze VP. I'm going with Faze because even though I feel like if VP was as good as it was like 6 months ago, I'm choosing VP over here, right? Because this VP is just this tricky team that just fucks it up, right? And his Faze are struggling right now as well. So I would have chosen VP, but VP right now is just really struggling. Same for Faze, but I'll just be like on LAN. Faze will do it. I feel like, Faze will definitely do it. I think they have some, since this, like, there's no big tournament now, like in terms of ESL, and there are some blast tournaments here and there. I feel like this is a opportunity for Faze, right? So Faze should win it, right? So I hope Faze wins it over here. In the 9 G2 game, I don't know what to say because I would have said G2 just because they are coming from a clone victory. But the reality is, in the interview, or I don't remember, it was like or it was basically on the podcast of Talking Counter or something like that. G2 Hunter said that they don't really care about Gamers8. they just come off Cologne, and they've won Cologne and Katowice, so they are content in a sense, right? And they don't care about if they bomb out in the groups, in the first game, and that says like they will not practice. And if they don't practice, a team like Nine will actually easily beat them. So I don't touch G2. I will not touch G2. That's for sure. But can you pick 9 over G2 right now? You have to go for G2. That's the problem, right? 9 is good, but if G2 gets somewhat a momentum or something like that, G2 takes it, right? So I'm just going G2 just based on that, right? In the Navi Furia is just bad right now. Really, really poor. Struggling to basically, get a balance between the art style of play and Fallen style of play. Sadly, art is still there. The whole core of that team is still there, right? The coach is still there, so they still want to play the way art have played for the last couple of years, but they want to merge now Fallen style, and it's just impossible to do that because they are such a polar opposite. It's different, completely different, style of plays, and it's just hard, right? Because if you look at the team, the way they play, right, Furia right now, the way Fallen plays is default, take the space, and then in the end, using the space, they exploit the rotation and then hit on the side, right? Right now, what happens is Furia players like, let's say, Keserato, Art, and, Yuri, this Cole, doesn't know how to take the space, doesn't know how to take control of the space, properly every time, right? And that's why when you see their game plays, especially in Inferno that I noticed, or even Overpass as well, they sometimes leave the B side banana completely empty, and they just hit on A, or completely empty on A and hit on B because they don't have enough time in the end, right? So usually what happens, the other team will gamble and boom, they get fucked because of that. So if they sort out that thing, I think I will go for Furia. But Navi right now looks much more solid, much more like a cohesive unit compared to Furia. Even with the English problems, I think Navi has definitely looked better. I want Furia to win because I want a team outside Europe to do really well, right? And Furia is like that hope in a sense, right? So I want Furia to win it, but I think Navi will win it, and Navi will go to the quarterfinals. In the MIBR was a Vitality game. I think I will go for Vitality. MIBR has not been good. They have played some tier 2 tournaments in Europe, and they have looked decent here and there, but overall, again, still not good enough. I mean, they have got some good pieces from basically Furia, Drop, and Seifi, but still not the thing that we want, right? It's still not a top tier team. It's like a top tier 2 team right now. So in the quarterfinals, Faze versus G2. If G2 is there, I think G2 will take it. That's the thing. Now the fourth quarterfinals, Navi versus Vitality. Oh my god, zywoo versus Simple would be crazy. But I believe Vitality is just next level in terms of, again, they play like a proper team, because obviously with only one change being made, right? A change is big, but it's only one change. So, and the way Vitality have shown us, the way they have played, I believe in Vitality right now. And I think Vitality will win it, and if Furia wins it, and even then I think Vitality will win it. So it's gonna be Faze versus Vitality in the semis, and in that Faze or G2 versus Vitality in the semis, and I just have to go for Vitality. Vitality are better, but the problem is if G2 basically wins the tournament, if G2 wins against 9, G2 win against Faze, then G2 in a run. And when G2 is on the run and in momentum, it's hard to beat G2 as well. But knowing what Hunter said in a tournament, in the interviews, can you really trust G2? Not really. So that's a big gamble, right? And because of that, I will go for Vitality, because Vitality have shown me consistency, the level that they can achieve as well. And I just feel like Vitality just more, when you look at the game, I think Vitality have more confidence of me, I guess, right? Let's say that. Heroic versus Vitality in the finals, and I would go for Vitality. Yeah. I would go for Vitality because Heroic has been struggling. The way they played in Cologne, just barely won against Mongols, right? They played against Astralis, they got destroyed. So I don't really trust Heroic, and that's why I believe that Cloud9 can actually be in the finals. And if Cloud9 versus Vitality happens, there's a good chance that Cloud9 can take it, because remember the game, in basically, this quarters, that game actually were a bit close, right? Yeah, Vitality closed in 2 games, two maps, but it was one game was OT, and Cloud9 should have won that game. But suddenly it's not a proper, big crowd. That's an advantage of Cloud9. Exile is there and playing for a long period of time. That's an advantage of Cloud9. So you never know. But if you look at the team, who's going to take the whole thing? I think it's going to be Vitality. Now coming to fantasy, I will have two fantasy. One in which I feel like Heroic wins it, and other one if I feel like, Cloud9 wins it. By second side of the bracket, I would go for Apeks. Bro, for 182, the way he's been performing is crazy. And I don't understand why he's still 182. He will get expensive in future, but my god, that's cheap. And I will definitely go for it. Zywoo. Bro, this two combo is so good, and for a price of 410 in total, you have to go for it, right? You have to go for it. Now, on the other side of the bracket, we want Heroic, right? So let's go for Tessus, and I will go for Yabi instead of Shush, because Shush is comparatively expensive, and having Yabi will give you an option to go for Snappy, who is decent, who will win against Liquid, and will have a good chance against Cloud9 as well. So he's gonna have a good team. You're gonna have three good teams, one decent player in Snappy, and then four good players. I'm taking Apeks as a good player because he has performed really well recently as well. And that side of the bracket is kinda easy. They wanna play MIBR. Should be easy, should be comfortable, right? So this is my team this is my first team. Coming to the roles, I'm going Apeks for support, Zywoo for multifragger, not going for an AWPer because AWPer is just fucked because of the changes, to be honest. Leader for Tessus because that was I feel like Heroic has to do it just because of the bracket of Falcons, and then they have to play Apeks or GamerLegion. It's just easier. You have to go for that. Yabi as an attacker and Snappy as a eco-friendly. Now the second fantasy is a bit different. Instead of having Heroic player, I will have Cloud9 players in Electronic and Hobbit. I think Electronic and Hobbit is fucking crazy. Electronic for 200. Yes, they had a shitty performance in the playoffs, but I feel like, Electronic, if Cloud9 wins it, Electronic will have a good rating. And the way Hobbit has been playing as well, he was the one who was carrying on some levels alongside Shido in the tournament. So I feel like Hobbit is a good buy for 205 as well. I think Cloud9 is gonna be I believe that they will be the next big thing. So I wanna basically go for Cloud9, and these two players, I know they are two players I believe in, and I love it as well, right? I love Electronic and Hobbit, so that's one of the reasons as well. But I feel like this squad is also really great. Still going for this fantasy. The reason being, I chose Cloud9 in the Cologne playoffs, and I was really destroyed. If I chose Vitality, then it would be better. I do believe that it was Vitality, but I went for my heart. Now I want to go how it is. Basically, Cloud9 can lose. They lost to Fnatic, right? Fnatic is not an easy team to beat, and then they have to play Ence, which is going to be a hard team to beat as well. So I just believe that you have to go for Heroic. Playing Falcons, playing Apeks or GamerLegion, it's just, Heroic will win it, and players like Tessus and Yabi will deliver the points. And let's be real, Heroic versus Cloud9 is still a very 50-50 game, if not in favor of Heroic, in a sense, right? In a basically studio kind of environment, right? So overall, I want to go for Cloud9 because I like it, and I want them to basically show the potential as well. But have to go for Heroic if you want to get points as well. Tell me your predictions in the comment section. Who do you think is going to win the whole tournament? I believe it's going to be Vitality. If not Vitality, I think it's going to be Cloud9. If Cloud9 make that run from that side of the bracket, I think Cloud9 is going to take it. I think otherwise, from the downside of the bracket, I think it's going to be Vitality.